What's up, everybody? It's Darkstrider, the YouTube Assassin, and a lot of you are kind of confused by what I said in a previous video about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So here it goes. Honestly, the way that the game is going to be played, or the way that the game fits into the whole lore and canon of the stuff, is that everything that you deal with in the present day with Layla Hassan, that is canon. Okay? Everything that you deal with in the adventure is non-canon. The only way that it's canon will be that you purchase the Assassin's Creed Odyssey novel, and it will actually give you everything that is canon. So you're going to play the game. First of all, Alexios is not canon. It is only Cassandra's adventure. Okay? So right away, only Cassandra is canon. Okay? And everything that you do in the game is non-canon. So the things that she does, the choices that you make, you know, they're for the sake of your game and what you're playing, but it's not canon. Everything you do is kind of, you know, meaningless if you think about it, because nothing that you do is going to be officially canon. You're going to play the game. It's going to be an amazing game. You know, there's no doubt in my mind. It's going to be an amazing game. We've already seen, you know, like screenshots, and we've seen gameplay and everything like that. You have to admit it is going to be like a really awesome game. The only problem is that all the choices that you make pretty much don't mean anything because none of it is canon. The only canon part of the game itself is going to be the fact that Cassandra is the main character, because it's Cassandra's story. So, as I was saying to another commenter, it would have been cool still if they would have done this thing where they had Alexios actually with a whole separate adventure. Maybe, you know, like as Layla dove into the Animus, she found out that this guy is not the mercenary that she's looking for, and that, you know, maybe he had his own adventure. Maybe he was mistaken as Cassandra or as the person who bore the spear. And maybe, you know, like he has his own separate adventure where the Templars are hunting him down, where he's hiding from them, where he's trying to avoid them. And then towards the end, it's like, nah, dude, I'm not the guy. You know? It would be like you had two games in one. It would increase the replayability of the game because you would now have two adventures to play through. And, you know, Ubisoft didn't do it that way. You know, they're going with the whole, you know, like Layla got the DNA, checked it out, and, you know, the Animus couldn't distinguish between male or female. And, you know, it just went through two different things. And then on top of that, it's going to give you this whole other scenario where you know, like you're doing all these dialogue options, multiple endings and everything, and none of it is canon. None of it actually means anything. I know a lot of people were kind of confused by that. A lot of people just don't understand why they would do that. Why would you make a game and only have one character as canon, but you're trying to sell us two as canon? Now, you know, they're doing it, you know, from a business perspective. They're going full-on RPG, so that's why they did it. It's just kind of crazy that we would have to go and purchase the novel in order to find out what the real story is. You have to purchase the novel in order to find out, you know, what's really canon and what actually happened in the game. Now, these books, as far as I can recall, because I own a couple of them, they're about $10. You know, that's US $10. Imagine, you know, that's the only way you find out what really happened. Not even in the comic book. Even though the comic books, those have really gone off the deep end with like everything that's going on. But the thing is that it's not canon. They could have actually made it canon. I feel like they're not even trying with the story now. They're just going straight into the gameplay and things you can do, you know, things of that nature. Like, they're totally forgetting where some of us are in the lore. Some people actually enjoy the lore. Some people actually enjoy playing the game and, you know, going through the whole sci-fi element and, you know, like seeing what's going on and experiencing these lives and everything like that. You know, some people are really, really into that. So it's kind of a shame that this is going to be the game that actually doesn't give us a definitive answer on lore. And it's kind of like, okay, you know what? It was great and all. I know you had fun with this game, but, you know, you have to buy the book if you want to know what really happened. Like, you know, that's kind of shoddy to me. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, if they're going to do something like that, I kind of feel like they should at least give you like a discount on the book, include a coupon or something so that you could get, you know, like a certain percentage off the book or a couple of bucks off, you know. Maybe you get a free book with the purchase or something. I don't know. It's just kind of weird that they would do that. You know, but then again, like I said, it's a business perspective and they're doing things from a business perspective. It is going to sell, you know, like books. It is going to sell the game. You know, people are going to play the game. People are going to buy the game. It kind of feels like everything that you're doing in the game isn't going to mean anything, you know? Like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of a weird perspective that they would go with. That's kind of, you know, odd. I don't see why they would do that. You would think that they would really want to focus on the actual things going on in the game. Like, they would want it to be that interesting, but for some reason, you know, they're not going with it. I don't understand it, you know. But I know a lot of you are also confused on that. A lot of people, you know, like in comments and even emailing me and whatnot, are just like, hey, what, you know, they're scratching their heads. What's going on here? What do you mean it's not canon? What do you mean Alexios is not canon? You know, and then I'm getting the other reaction where people are like, well, what's the point of having Alexios in there? You know, I don't know if it was just a progressive kind of thing, like an SJW kind of thing, where they feel like, okay, you know, let's include the woman as well. You know, I mean, the woman could definitely carry the game. I mean, we've seen it with Aveline in Assassin's Creed Liberation. And honestly, I enjoyed that game. That was actually a good game. You know, like I said before in a previous video, all the different outfits that she had, you know, the slave, the lady, and then the assassin, you know, it was all like really good. It was all like a really wild kind of take on what you can and can't do in these games. And I honestly thought that was a pretty cool gimmick, and I would have loved to have seen more of that, honestly. I would have really loved to see something else where, like, maybe you have 3 disguises, or maybe the disguises that you get all, you know, have a purpose. You know, we have a million outfits with Bayek here. How cool would it have been if, like, every one of those outfits, or some of those outfits even, you know, actually did something? You know, or even, you know, like in Ubisoft's other game, Far Cry 5, you have like a plethora of outfits that you can purchase, and, you know, they don't really do anything. They, you know, they're just there. You know, like you have, you know, disguises that look like the enemies, and, you know, like you can't wear them and hide amongst the enemies. It would be cool if they, you know, did something like that where, you know, like it actually served the purpose. But they don't have anything like that. So, you know, it's kind of weird. It would have been nice to see that in Assassin's Creed. But, you know, once again, it's just weird how they're doing this canon thing, how they're approaching this canon thing. When they first announced Odyssey, and they first announced that it was going to be a full-on RPG, and they first said, you know, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to give you all these choices, dialogue options, multiple endings. You know, a lot of people were blown away. A lot of people were taken back. Like, what do you mean you're giving us all these options? What options? What are these options for? I'm playing a game and I'm going to have multiple endings, and then the crazy thing is that, you know, a lot of what you chose doesn't mean anything. A lot of what you chose is just going to be for your enjoyment of the game, which, you know, okay, I could deal with that. I could roll with that. But the thing is that, you know, like, you created a lore. You created a story, you created a narrative, and now you're deviating from that. You know, it kind of confuses your fans that are really into the lore and what's going on. So honestly, like I've stated before, Odyssey really should have been its own IP. Odyssey should have been like, you know, well, we're not going to say it should have been like, you know, one of these stories like, you know, like a Star Wars spin-off or something like that. But, you know, it could have been a spin-off and it could have worked. It honestly could have worked as a spin-off. But for some reason, they chose not to. They chose to make it part of the main series. They chose to make it part of the main game. And now it's just confusing as to like how we're doing this. It's just like really odd. A lot of people are confused. And when they hear that this is what's going on in the game, they do get confused. They do wonder. They do, you know, ask, what do you mean? What's going on? But anyway, I want to know what you think. Is this like a good idea? You know, are you going to go get the book? Do you feel that, like, you know, you really should get the book anyway? I mean, you know, like a lot of us who are fans, we purchase the comics, we purchase the books, you know, all the swag and everything. And that's all well and good, but it's optional. Right now, it's almost kind of like they're forcing you to buy the book so that you know what's going on. By the time they make the next Assassin's Creed, if you don't have the book and you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's happening in the next segment of the story. You know, that just feels weird to me. But like I said, what do you think? Do you think it's fair that we need a book in order to tell the story? Do you think that the disc should actually tell us what the real story is at the end? Do you feel that, you know, Alexios is a waste of time if he's not even a canon character? And do you think that they should have had two entirely different stories for these two characters, that it would have actually been like a two games in one, where they had their own traits? You know, Layla just followed the wrong one, and all of a sudden, you know, she discovers who that guy was at the end of the game. What are your thoughts on that? Leave it in the comments below. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And as always, thank you for watching.